Hey guys, and welcome back. Today I have a base routine for you guys, and it's also going to be showing you how I cover up my acne scars because I do still have some scarring from when I had acne, and I am also going to be giving you a few tips and tricks on how to get your face looking as flawless as possible. So if you do want to see how to achieve a nice flawless finish, then just keep on watching. So first and foremost, the most important step is definitely prepping the skin properly. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is taking some moisturizer. This is the Body Shop Vitamin E Moisture Cream. And I'm just going to be applying a very generous layer all over my skin. Even if you don't typically have dry skin, I still find that moisturizing your skin before you apply your foundation is extremely important. Any tiny little dry patches could be kind of sticking up and making the foundation look a little bit bumpy, or making it look patchy so the foundation sticks to some parts more than the others. So the next step is still about making sure that your skin is nice and prepped, but this time it's making sure that you're priming it really well as well. So what I like to do first of all is use a moisturizing primer just to make sure that my skin is still nice and moisturized, because I do suffer with a little bit of dry skin every now and again. And then I will go on top of that with a pore filling or smoothing primer. This one that I'm using is from Too Faced, and this one's just really nice because it's just nice and smooth and it doesn't feel too thick. So I like to apply this onto my bumpier areas. For me, the areas that need smoothing are my cheeks, my forehead, and also onto my nose, and that way all of my skin concerns are nice and taken care of, and that way my foundation will look a lot more flawless. So the third step I definitely recommend for anyone that has any darkness or scarring from acne. So what I like to do first of all, this involves more of my under eye area, but I like to apply some color corrector. I like to just apply some sort of warm concealer under my eyes just to counteract with some of that darkness. And then I like to take a mint concealer onto my cheeks and also on the other areas that are feeling a little bit red or that have a few little acne scars on it. These are the areas I tend to get a lot of redness, and I will pretty much just blend that all together with a brush. I like to use a lot of patting motions because I personally feel like this kind of allows a lot of that color payoff to stay on the skin, and I'll pretty much just blend that all together. And I would highly recommend this, especially if you feel like when you apply a layer of foundation that your skin is still showing through. This just allows you to use less foundation, and to be honest, the concealer that I'm using from Soap & Glory, the green one, is actually really light coverage. You can't really feel anything on your skin, so that way it kind of takes care of the color but it doesn't feel heavy. So I just wanted to show you guys a very quick comparison. This is just applying color corrector that isn't very heavy at all. So as you can see, it's taking care of a lot of the acne scars, and now we're going to be moving on to foundation. So the foundation that I'm using is the EX1 Invisiwear foundation today. I tend to skip between lots of different foundations, but this is definitely one that I love. And I'm going to be applying this with a brush today because this just works really well with this foundation, but some foundations I do prefer a beauty blender. It really does depend on the actual formula that I'm using. I just like to pat a lot of this onto my skin and then blend it onto my face, and that's pretty self-explanatory. Again, I like to use lots of kind of patting motions and round motions too, but I like to pat because this builds more coverage. As I blend this onto my skin, you will see how kind of easy this is covered up what's on my face, and that's due to the color correction. If I hadn't applied any color corrector, then you would have seen the difference between what my face would have looked like with just foundation on it. So if you haven't tried color correcting before, I definitely recommend it. And if you do feel like some areas are still poking through, you can just apply a teeny bit more foundation. For my concealer, I am mixing together my Maybelline Fit Me concealer, which you guys know I love, and a little bit of the Too Faced Born This Way concealer, just because it's a little bit brighter than the Fit Me. And I'm just going to be blending this in with a beauty blender. And whenever I'm blending in concealer under my eyes, I would tend to go for a beauty blender because it does take away a lot of the coverage. It's very easy to have a cakey looking under eye because the under eye area is such a delicate part of the skin. So I definitely feel like a beauty blender looks really nice and flawless, a lot more than a brush. I used to love applying it with a brush, but I've definitely found that beauty blender just looks a lot more natural and flawless at the same time. Now the key to making everything look flawless and allowing your foundation to stay on a lot longer as well is setting it into place. I'm taking one of my favorite powders from Soap & Glory and just applying it onto my forehead, my under eyes, pretty much everywhere actually. What this will do is not only lock it into place, but when something is matte, it doesn't look shiny. When something is shiny, it almost emphasizes what's on your skin. So if you have bumps, having a matte coverage looks a lot more flawless than having something dewy, because the shine kind of adds emphasis to the bumps. I don't know if that makes sense, but basically matte does really help with bumpy looking skin. I've suffered with texture for quite a while well, so I've found that having a all matte coverage just makes everything look a lot more flawless. So now that my skin is nice and set, I'm going to be doing the whole rest of my base activities. I'm going to be bronzing my skin, adding a little bit of definition to my cheekbones, and also just like highlighting under my eyes and all of that good stuff. So this is kind of self-explanatory, just applying a matte bronzer. I definitely find that keeping, again, all of the products you're applying matte really does help all of the skin texture to look nice and smooth. And then the only thing that wouldn't be matte for me is my highlight, and I do make sure not to apply it on any spotty or bumpy areas. So for me, when I apply my highlight, I would only apply it onto my cheekbones because that area is generally quite smooth. But if I did have any spots there, I would most likely avoid applying highlight. So guys, that is the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, then don't forget to like it and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you do really like videos like this, then don't forget to comment down below and let me know what else you'd like me to do a concentrated video on. I really hope you learned something new today about creating a flawless foundation base, and apart from that, I will see you next time. Bye guys!